Probably before I entered RBI, I would have had an awareness of it. But once you go to a sort of secondary school, secondary education that actually plays rugby, as a rugby player, the Schools Cup just becomes such a big thing. It's, as the player, it's the pinnacle. Those days, Ulster probably played 3, 4, 5 games. So your heroes growing up through school with, the big players at school, and you got to see them play in the Schools Cup. That was the pinnacle and for a lot of people, that's what you worked for through school, particularly if you had a love of rugby. And the friendships you make, I still have, sort of my year group actually keep sort of re-meeting, and a lot of those guys went on to play rugby, probably even more so than today, after they left school for different clubs. But those friendships that you make through school, playing against other schools, because I've friends that I played against through school, and those friendships endure for decades for me. I was 2 years I was involved in the Schools Cup. The first year I was sort of second choice hooker, and in those days when you were second choice you only got onto the pitch if there was a sort of serious injury. So I sat through all of the Schools Cup campaign really. We got to the final, Inst Campbell final, and it turned out to be a horrendous day. So there was sleeting, rain and a heavy wind. And I think the two defences cancelled each other out, and at the end of 75 or 70 minutes, it was 3-0 to Campbell. So it was one penalty from near the halfway line with the wind behind. So it was a sort of bittersweet memory. The following year, which would have been my last year at school, we get put out in the quarterfinals by Ballymena Academy. Ballymena Academy side with people like Peter Miller playing, who went on to be a sort of played with Peter in Ulster, and played against him when I was playing for Dungannon and against Ballymena many times. So there was a lot of, when you played through school, that stage most people went on to play club rugby afterwards. And those sort of friendships and sort of competitions and rivalries that you built up at school and through the Schools Cup then continued into adult rugby. And I still see and have friends and contact with, my son is now playing against the sons of guys I played against at school. Fabulous. You tend to see quite a few of them at the side of a pitch. That can be a sort of schools game watching one of your children, or it can be for me at the side of a Dungannon pitch watching them, or in many cases now I'm actually seeing some of our Ulster players out here who are the sons of people I played with and against. The success of my boys come through Friends, which is not a big rugby school, but develop a love of rugby through that competition, and that's what we want from our schools game, is that boys and girls develop a love of rugby that they continue into adulthood with all the benefits that come from it. And one of the things that gives me great joy is seeing the sort of speed with which the women's game and the girls' game is growing. I've always taken great pride from my sport, rugby, because I think it's one of the most inclusive sports. If you think about it, there's a place on the pitch for every size and shape. It doesn't matter what size, what shape, what skill level you are, there's actually a place. There's a shirt on the rugby pitch for you, which not a lot of other sports, or I can't think of any other team sport that has that to the same extent. But actually up until maybe the last sort of 10, 15 years, it's probably largely been one gender. So to see the fact that our sort of young girls, girls through school, and women now have the opportunity to have that same privilege and same enjoyment that comes from rugby, I think is fabulous. It's a personal priority for me to continue to grow that. And we had a fabulous occasion here last year with the under 14, under 16, under 18 girls playing their finals here. We've had the sort of final of the Schools Cup here, Girls' Schools Cup. Great occasions, great excitement and great attendance. So it's just fabulous to see that the game is now open to everyone.